tall old tree and a strong old tree. And we are the sons, yes, we are the sons of liberty. Stand for the rights of man, boys, stand against all tyranny. Hang the lance of freedom, boys, high on the liberty tree. It's a tall old tree and a strong old tree. And we are the sons, yes, we are the sons of liberty. It will grow as we grow, boys, it will be as strong as we. We must cling to our faith, boys, faith in the liberty tree. It's a tall old tree and a strong.
Liberty's Guardian, Guns and Ammunition, a family-owned business located in the heart of Ohio's hunting country. Let us help you find the right shotgun or rifle for you. Or if you're looking for a pistol or concealed carry, we have a nice selection of compact and subcompact pistols for that too. Check out our website at www.libertiesguardian.com. That website again is www.libertiesguardian.com. Go to the website and check out our selection today.
We all need to prepare ourselves. You might have the food, water, gold, and silver, but ask yourself, are you truly prepared? That's why you need to visit MaineMilitary.com. MaineMilitary.com carries everything you need. Gas masks, fire starter kits, high-capacity magazines, chemical suits, military surplus items, and much more. Do you own a firearm? MaineMilitary.com has a large selection of pistols and rifles suited for your needs. Are your local stores sold out of ammunition? Call or visit them today for prices on hard-to-find ammo and bulk ammo orders. You don't need to worry about having a military surplus store in your area because MaineMilitary.com is the only store you'll ever need, all from the comfort of your computer. Visit them online today at MaineMilitary.com. That's Maine, like the state, military.com.
I had a dream the other night that, well, I didn't understand. A figure walked in through the mist with a flintlock in his hand. His clothes were torn and dirty as he stood there by my bed. He took off his three-cornered hat, and speaking low to me, he said, "We fought a revolution to secure our liberty. We wrote the Constitution as a shield from tyranny. For future generations, this legacy we gave. In this, the land of the free and home of the brave. The freedoms we secured for you, we'd hoped you'd always keep. But tyrants labored endlessly while your parents were asleep. Your freedom's gone, your courage lost. You're no more than a slave. In this, the land of the free and home of the brave. You buy permits to travel and permits to own a gun, permits to start a business or to build a place for one. On land that you believe you own, you pay a yearly rent, although you have no voice in saying how the money's spent. Your children must attend a school that doesn't educate, and your Christian values can't be taught according to the state. You read about the current news in a regulated press, and you pay a tax you do not owe to please the IRS. Your money is no longer made of silver nor of gold. You trade your wealth for paper, so your life can be controlled. You pay for crimes that make our nation turn from God and shame. You've taken Satan's number. You've traded in your name. You've given government control to those who do you harm so they could burn down churches and seize the family farm and keep our country deep in debt, put men of God in jail, harass your fellow countrymen while corrupted courts prevail. Your public servants don't uphold the solemn oaths they've sworn. And your daughters visit doctors so their children won't be born. Your leaders send artillery and guns to foreign shores and send your sons to slaughter fighting other people's wars. Can you regain the freedoms for which we fought and died? Or don't you have the courage or the faith to stand with pride? And are there no more values for which you'll fight to save? Or do you wish your children to live in fear and be a slave? O sons of the Republic, arise, take a stand, defend the Constitution, the supreme law of the land. Preserve our great republic and each God-given right. And pray to God to keep the torch of freedom burning bright. As I awoke, he'd vanished in the mist from whence he came. His words were true. We are not free, but we have ourselves to blame. For even now, as tyrants trample each God-given right, we only watch and tremble, too afraid to stand and fight. If he stood by your bedside in a dream while you were asleep and wondered what remains of the freedoms he'd fought to keep, what would be your answer if he called out from the grave? Is this still the land of the free and home of the brave? God bless you, and God bless this republic.
And good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is the first hour of the afternoon intelligence report. I'm Mark Kornke. One day closer to victory for all of our brothers and sisters, both on and behind the lines in occupied territories, southwest, northeast, west, and southeast. Ladies and gentlemen, you are listening to us on Libertytreeradio.4mg.com. Liberty Tree Radio on YouTube, live stream. You can listen to that right now because this is the live hour. It'll be recorded the next time you hear it if you go over there and you find it in the archive. And we are on AM and FM micro stations, AM and FM conventional stations, CB base stations, and Ultra-Net Hallmark and Golden Spike Technologies east and west of the Mississippi, along with Alaska. And I have a donation for the Hallmark people, actually boxed up 2 boxes of cable and also a whole pile of bridges and links. So that's all for the mechanical department, and we will be handing that stuff off pretty soon. I've got some new boxes to put everything in, everything Ziploc bagged, ready to go. So for our friends there, this is to help expand one of the local nets, which is what the Hallmark Ultranet and Golden Spike systems do. We are separate from the Internet. We are not part of it, not connected in any way. We bridge by radio trans, in other words, by wireless, to get from one to the other, purely with a signal with regard to noise to broadcast the intel report. Otherwise, no hookups, no mechanicals, nothing like that. Anyway, good afternoon, and to all of our friends out there in the lower 49, including the great state of Jefferson, CONUS, the outlying 2 states' territories, and the clock. It's 5:10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It is Communications Tuesday. It is the 20th of October. It is the 12th year of open Fabian Socialist and Soviet Socialist occupation of America with a K, 2020. Old Earth calendar, I'll get it right. Damn it, Jim. I'm a doctor, not a brick mason. But I just fixed the Horta with this cement. I can do anything. Yeah, look how Bones, you fixed him, and now he's hungry. Yum, 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 yum. Acid for blood. Anyway, also 2020, year of conflict, year of betrayal, battle for the Republic, the dance of swords, and you're living it. So congratulations. Here we go. Anyway, clicking down to the shipwreck, that's, of course, more folderol, fiddle-dee, and nonsense, all kinds of sputum and excrement in all directions. My goodness, it's like a total waste of time. Vote early, vote often, 6-7 times if you want to. Don't forget, all the corpses this year are gonna in the cemeteries they're gonna vote twice, at least. Congratulations. Although many vote 11 times. The average corpse in the average cemetery in Chicago, New Orleans area, but I would say pretty much any of the Democrat-run areas now are voting at least 11 times in every election. And totally opposite of probably whatever they voted when they were alive. Anyway, other than that, like I said, sputum and excrement, that's all you're seeing flashing around here. It's all drivel. They're trying not to have, and whatever they're going to do with the fake-ass debate is going to be a farce at best. You've got the meat puppet stunt dummy Biden, which has no business being near any elected office, let alone having been in the Senate for as long as he is now. it's time for many of those characters just to retire, in common sense dignity, but they're not going to. And, of course, they froth at the mouth. They're bug-eyed. They try to look like they're younger where they're not. I mean, personally, as far as that goes, look your age. In other words, with Biden, he does. The problem is, I love my parents. My parents also knew when they were, when they had problems, they acknowledged it. This character doesn't and isn't stepping out of the way. My grandparents were the same way. They knew what they were capable and incapable of, although my Grandpa Schilling was a little notorious for being persnickety and really trying to do everything he used to do no matter what. God help you. He couldn't see straight on, but he'd still try to drive. Kind of like Biden, you know what I mean? Okay, but my grandpa was a much nicer guy, even though he was like Popeye's Gramps. Biden, just a pedo, a squeezy, feely kind of guy, always looking at little girls' chests and body parts. Yeah, so Twilight Zone Joe is what you got. And they want him to be the meat puppet fake president for a little while so they can fit in the next communist. It's Lenin versus Trotsky versus Stalin, which is what's happening right now. So be ready for that. Anyway, a couple things. Real quick, I have not been over to AIM this afternoon, and I did recommend to some people to go over there this morning because, yes, there was some pistol ammo. But I'm going to tell you right now, again, when you see it, even when I talk about it, I can watch it while it's disappearing on the program. But AIM has not jacked their prices, not on anything significantly. Wherever they have increased, it's because of the jobber that they work with, that they get their stuff from, increasing the price a little bit, but they've not gone, crazy town. Guys, if you go out west, a lot of locations, you will find that you're looking at, $75, $78, $1 a round for 380, 9mm, 40 caliber. And that's kind of crazy if you ask me. But what the heck? Like I said, if everybody bought it sooner, you wouldn't be in, price sticker distress now. And we did repeat that over and over. In fact, I religiously repeated that when people said, you keep talking about ammo and food. Yes, I do, because both of those are perishables, and there's only a limited supply. And even if they keep cranking it out, there isn't enough to go around. Okay, just that simple. Not for the quantities you need to make sure that everybody's on the same, playing field when the time comes, and that's how you play the numbers out. The bad guys can't have confidence when all of you have thousands of rounds of ammo, which means you can effectively wage war. You can pour it on when you need to, and you can start decimating an enemy force. The manpower that they lose, they can't grow right away. You got to keep getting rid of them, but they can't grow it any faster than anybody else can. People are people, okay? So just a heads up. Hits count, misses don't, but you want to hit them a lot. So anyway, couple things. I had a question and a comment on the ammunition, but I will say this again, as I said yesterday. I believe we were talking about it for just a little bit. Of all the calibers right now, it still comes back to 30-06 and 270 are out there in force. But my choice, somebody actually sent me an email last night, and a couple people did. It's like, well, Mark, you mentioned the 270, but you're always talking 30-06. Both those calibers are good, and here's why I bring both of them up right now. Again, if you've already got a 270, pour it on and buy all of it you can. If you've got a 06, pour on it, jump on it, buy all you can. Pull all of it in the shelf you can. Why? Both those calibers are outstanding performers. And here's the thing. Weren't you already shooting this for the last 10, 20, 30 years? Have you killed a deer or two deer or more every season? If you're a good poacher out there and you're listening, and I'm not going to say anything, I'm not complaining about that. But if you're a good poacher, it's one shot, one kill, and you've probably fed the family all through the year with one rifle, sometimes just a 22, because that's all you really need if you're good, especially with Bambi.
Plus, both rounds are easily reloaded.
Yes. Well, the big advantage here is, again, it's the performance of the caliber itself for the ranges we need and the penetration we want is with the bigger calibers, guys, MBRs, main battle rifle calibers. And the OT-6 has been a tried and true supreme performer for 100-plus years. And it's funny, they keep trying to talk it down. The problem you got is there's 100 years' worth of production in guns out there. So there is no way that 30-06 is going to disappear anytime soon. And, let's count I'm not just counting the Garands. Let's count just the Model 70s and 700s made in most of your lifetimes for the people that are out there listening. I don't care if you're 30 years old, it's been around for as long as you've been alive. But if you're my age, consider this: way before I was born, the 30-06 was already on the battlefield and in its own. But private circles with regard to custom-built, phenomenal firearms, bull barrel, match triggers, heavy bolt guns that really were just absolute tack drivers. In 30-06, they're all over the place. In Bambi guns, the 270 is in the same niche. And there's a lot of you guys. Farther out west you go, you'll find a guy usually has a rack of rifles. He will always have a 270, and he'll always have a 30-06 on the rack. Even if he's gone to another caliber, because guns are for buying, not for selling. And there's all kinds of cool new calibers that somebody comes up with, and I don't have a problem. I think it's wonderful that you bought another gun. Just don't sell the other ones. Buy another gun. And, the advantage is this. A lot of you have bought the newest calibers that are out there, and you're noticing that you can't get them right now. Now, this is because those are on the cusp of production, the earliest, edge of production, and they're going to be hard built. You're going to be hard pressed to get them unless you can, again, clear off the shelf, and hopefully they'll look at it and go, hey, it looks like we can sell some more, fill in the blank, whatever it is. This is kind of true with 300 Blackout, which really is the other assault rifle cartridge / light rifle cartridge in the family that's really out there in good numbers, to the point where it's going to be showing up all over the place. I think it's established well enough, because it is a 30 caliber projectile, that it's going to stick with us from now on. It's going to be there floating in the wings one way or another, because there's enough people that like it. It's a good performer. It's a semi-automatic, cartridge, and it's fitting a certain niche that's satisfying the customer, okay? The people who are making it work. So that's one of those that's going to be a crossover. Why? Well, I just mentioned it. It's 30 caliber, guys. 300 Blackout is 30 caliber. And basically it was like, well, they wanted to reinvent the 7.62x39, but they wanted it to be on steroids so it performed almost as well as, say, 308, 7.62x51 NATO, which it does to a degree. It's the equivalent, what really cartridge it's equivalent to? The 300 Savage. Go look at the 300 Savage and its performance range, and then go look at the 300 Blackout and lay them side by side. Oh, yeah, they reinvent the wheel every once in a while. The only reason they built the 300 Blackout is to fit in the AR-15 mags, so you could, again, put another upper receiver together, which is a cool idea. Don't have a problem with that. It's a great idea. But if you are in 300 Blackout, you better be buying the snot out of that. If you're going to carry that in the field, then you can't just scream out, hey, throw me a mag. It's just not going to be that way. Now, let me give you an example of another issue, though. Wolf ammunition is the cheapest ammunition out there, other than maybe Red Army, and Preview Partisan has some white box stuff that's not expensive. But right now, Wolf is probably the cheapest line out there for the average round you can find, right? Okay, well, let me point this out. Over at Aim Surplus, they do have some ammunition, so go look at it. They got some 308, 7.62x39. They still have some 45 ACP. And they've got still both of those 7.62x54R Boxer Prime PPU rounds. If you got an AGOT, you should be buying the hell out of that stuff. Every paycheck, buy some. Because that's Boxer Prime reloadable. Save your steel case for battlefield use. If you're going to shoot the NAGOT, get yourself a simple set of dies and a simple reloading press, and you shoot this Boxer Prime non-corrosive heat annealed ammo in your very fine bolt-action rifle, and you can be shooting for a very long time with the same 40, 50, 60 rounds of ammunition out of a brand-new box. 3-4 boxes worth. And just keep reloading, and you learn in the process, too. Just something to think about. However, let's get back over to the Wolf. Let me give you an example. 7.62x39, 123 grain FMJ Wolf. Factory standard. They crank out a ton of it. What's the price? $6.49. Now, Wolf 300 AAC Blackout, 145 grain FMJ, good round. Medium performance, I understand it's average, which is fine, which is what you need. You're not going to be, target master every day, and not necessarily if you want to spray and pray a little bit. That's where you're going to manage your consumption of ammo. However, let me point out that Wolf 7.62x39 is $6.49 a box. That Wolf 300 AAC Blackout 145 grain FMJ is $15.95 a box. So again, I would point out I can buy 2.5 boxes of 7.62x39 for the price of one box of 300 Blackout. Now, this is true right now. The 7.62x39 has been pretty pretty well staying in a reasonable price. Not super, but, if you look at the price of everything else, it's like, oh, God. Now, when you start getting the main battle rifle cartridges and bigger stuff, remember there's Wolf 30-06, 145 grain for $14.95. And lo and behold, those are probably using that 300 AAC, and the 30-06 are probably using the exact same projectile. Wolf, the Russians aren't stupid. They try to maximize profit, minimize activity. So it's probably the exact same bullet. I've never done an autopsy on the 300 AAC Wolf and then compare the bullet, cut it in half, and compare the two. First by weight, obviously it's the same weight, but then also is it a Spitzer? Is it a Sierra boat tail? What's the jacket like? How's it built? Because they're probably, again, it would be, some people say it's a waste of time, but you need to have a technical base of information to work with. So yes, the Wolf is probably, the 300 Blackout is probably the same projectile as their 145 grain .6. But it works. All of this works. So, and right now, really every week or every day if you can, when you can scratch up some extra pennies, buy more ammo. Just that simple. Buy more ammo, buy more food, pick up more medical supplies, and get yourself not just on the table, but then get yourself to the next tier, the next level of preparedness/performance, okay? So anyway, I just wanted to compare that. Again, 2.5 boxes of 7.62 AK ammunition for the price of one 300 Blackout. Now that 300 Blackout round, I know it's performance, but it still comes down to I can put more rounds down range at the intermediate and short range that both of these will probably be working at. And I got more bullets to put on you, and 123 grain is going to hurt just as much as that 145. We know that. Granted, oh God, I'm not going to qualify anymore, but I know the accuracy rifles that 300 Blackout goes in too. So there's all that performance is taken into consideration. And I would point out, regular 308, 150 grain is $12.95 for 20 rounds, as opposed to $15.95 for the Blackout. So it's still cheaper for some Wolf Steel Case 308. Well, that's nice. So anyway, heads up now, communications, a couple of the things here real quick. I mentioned the Hallmark Network. There is going to be an expansion and a test in preparation for Shipwreck Day. This weekend, it will be, forgive me, let me make sure I get the note right here. It will be the 24th. It is going to be a complete service test of the system with the internet theoretically shut down. What that means is they're going to do a complete national round robin. They'll be starting on the East Coast. The idea is to pace and time how long it takes to send repetitive signals around the whole of the country and back to their point of origin. Now, there's already a series of nets these nets are already in place ready to replace the internet. But what we're going to do is an actual flyby, so to speak. We want to see how quickly, in other words, boom, the system shuts down intentionally. They shut down Region 5 of the United States. How quickly can we get a message out from an area, example that we will be doing point of origin in Michigan, and we will be going out across the whole of the nation, and that'll probably be what we call a triple split. In other words, we're not just going to wait and go in a circle around the United States. If it's a northern coastal, and we're a northern coastal because we're with we're on the edge of Canada, that's like a coast, or on the East Coast, you would be duck-footing out in three directions simultaneously, but these communications lines would join and overlap and come back on each other. The idea is to demonstrate that one way or another, any one of those three legs would get the signal out to the whole rest of the system when the time comes. So the test will be on the 24th. Guys, use your PIN numbers for those that are listening that are part of the grid, and go to your secure sites. You know what to do, and you will have all of your placer information already on site. Again, they decided this last night. There was a conference, and there is a need to be prepared to do a series of tests. We're probably going to do 3 total before the feces hits the oscillating device, and hell, it could start before the fake-ass election anyway, okay, which it's a farce. Remember, vote early and vote often, 7 or 8 or 9 times, which is exactly what they did here in Michigan. This whole thing is a lie from the get-go. So now, however they decide to throw the tumblers, it's just like the 92 election or any of the other BS. It's so close. No, it's not. It's not close at all. But that's the BS they'll pull. Now, let's see. And again, for all of our friends, that will be, somebody's asking. Actually, check the pin, because I think there's going to be a series of repetitive tests on Saturday. And then there will be 3 separate days where there will be testing. And the idea behind this, let me explain how this works, is kind of like a round robin with ham operators. You do a pace like we did with our 2-meter radios here in Michigan, where you start out with a signal in Detroit, and the idea is to go around the whole of the state, go all the way across to Wisconsin, go all the way up to the Keweenaw, go all the way across to the eastern part of the state, and then come down the Huron, Lake Huron side, and back to Detroit or back to the Monroe area, because we have several different base points in Monroe. The idea behind this is that you time to see how long it takes for you to do that bridge. And so what's going to happen here is we're going to test. I know it's going to be sloppy the first time around, because some people have never done this before with regard to any of the nets. Hallmark, Ultranet, and Golden Spike each have their own separate systems. But most everybody has done this before. This is true also of any of you guys who are ham operators that are in the Patriot circles. We don't care about what the licensed idiot sticks are doing, because most of them, and forgive me, not all of your idiot sticks, but you know what I mean. We got a whole bunch of anal-retentive control freaks in the radio sphere who are worthless to everybody. They're worthless. They're not good. They're not good for anything. But there's a whole bunch that are. Well, what we do is when we do for instance, when we did the Death March to radio up all of Michigan in 2-meter marine radio, CB, all at the same time, we did everything at once. We then did a series of tests after the 3rd week. We'd already taken 2 weeks and gone all over the state and set everything up mechanically. The idea is to do a test to see how we can pare down the time for a repeat that goes around the state like that with a single 30-second message. Now, that's a lot you can do a lot in 30 seconds, okay? If you time what I do, if I get into proper meter and you have a set message, guys, 30 seconds, you can get a lot of data, especially if it's phonetically coded. What do I mean by phonetic code? One word means a whole paragraph. The chair is against the wall. The chair is against the wall. John has a long mustache. John has a long mustache. That's it. See how that works? So, again, you need to practice this locally the same way. A copy, the red leader, this is a red leader, red group, standing by, red 1, standing by, red 2, standing by, red 3, standing by. The idea is you can do system tests on your own, and you have to wait in order. You don't just blurt out red 5. In other words, everybody has got their ears on, and you practice actually pacing and reporting so that you get a roll call in the process for your purposes. Command knows that everybody's in motion. We've got everybody's ear. This is how we do it. Anyway, practice. You can do this with 2-meter. You can do this with FRS radios. You can do this with marine radios. Don't forget, as you know, or a lot of you have asked, but if you've also read the Bible that comes along, you've got your radio Bibles that come, it's your instruction book. It's in 5 or 7 languages. Oh, that's exciting. When you get your instruction manuals, remember, do read them, because they do explain to you how to use your radio as a repeater. Now, that's done automatically nowadays, but remember, what we're talking about here is, for instance, with our 2-meter systems and our marine, is we want to send a message. You obviously record the message, simplified, and then you repeat it again. And the idea is to demonstrate how quickly can we on-off. On, out, off. Now, and another thing that's done there is, again, remember, by off, no other talk, no other babble. It's purely the signal that needs to go out as an emergency message. When Hutari was attacked here several years ago in Michigan, our radio grid did what it was supposed to do. Everybody did exactly what was supposed to happen. The biggest problem was as we expected and warned everybody about, other signal communications that was the commercial brand failed. But all of the satellite uplink, all of the other systems that we had in service, once everything was plugged in, everything did what it was supposed to do. The 2-meter, our battle chatter radios, like the marine radios, everything was in motion. Everything functioned flawlessly. We have gotten better since. You need to get better now if you're not familiar with this. And all of you out there listening need to develop your signal communication skills ASAP right now. In fact, you're not too late, but it is the 20th, so I would say every day you better be working on your tech. And you need to be doing it now. You need to, by the way, also, yes, somebody has asked before about key, about doing Morse code. Yes, everybody should know Morse code. But if you don't know Morse code, at least have a key card made up and everybody carry a key card. Laminate it. Make sure that you may be slow, but you don't worry, you'll pick up on it. Okay? You will get used to it. You'll work it real quick, and your ear will develop. Okay, that's another thing. But for now, hey, whatever you're doing, you're working on it. Okay, repetition. It's like anything else. How do you learn? Repetition. So you got to practice a little bit. Have some fun. Anyway, also, don't forget, I'm going to harp on it, batteries! Yes, batteries. And by the way, it's the holy season of batteries. It's the holiday season, whatever holiday that means nowadays. We still have Thanksgiving, around the corner, but before that we have Halloween. And the good thing about Halloween is that at Dollar Tree, Big Lot, and all the rest of these places, they have a quantity of holiday festive junk that shows up. One of the things I always watch for is nowadays you have, obviously, batteries, we know that, but you have also different quality of batteries or different levels, supposedly. You might want to experiment. But if you look like you're going to get a better deal on a better, deeper, higher quality battery, this is when you take advantage of that. Now, read the dates. Everything's got dates nowadays, so read the expiration or, the when it shrivels up like a raisin and is supposed to blow away as dust date, and act accordingly. Pay attention. Look on the shelf. See what else is there. Flip a few more boxes over, a few more containers over. Just because one's dated at a certain window doesn't mean the next box that came in isn't fresher. Don't forget that. I haven't mentioned that enough, I don't think. Anyway, but with Dollar Tree, who cares? It's all dollar batteries. They're the cheapest of the bunch. There's colors. You've got red and white, and you've got blue and yellow. And the color is very important. No, it's not. But they're actually still serviceable enough batteries. We've used them in the FRS radios. We've used them in this little CBs. They work fine. They just, again, their lifespan is minimal, but not so short as to be unusable. They're just not going to be as tough as some of those other really fine, deeper cell batteries that are out there, okay? But the other places have them. Big Lot does have them on sale. There's a bunch of other places, and I notice I'm not mentioning certain ones, but if you go to Wally World, you always strip them of stuff that is useful to us while telling Wally World to go piss off. Always remember to do that. Anyway, another thing is lighting. Now, this is something that this time of year, which is really cool, you're going to get some things that are very useful. Of course, purple and orange is the big color thing for Halloween. However, there are still some pretty good little battery-powered, I mentioned those Dollar Tree batteries. These are little strings of LED lighting. No, they're not real super bright. They are bright enough that they do, glow quite well, and they can be seen, from a distance. Not really well. They're really for like close-up decorating a door, decorating a window, or doing something in your office. But here's where they're really great. They're really great for tent lighting. What? Yeah, when you think about it, okay, you've got colors. You've got like purple. Purples are not a bad color for, minimizing light damage to your eyes for night vision. They're also, again, subdued, not brighty-whiteys. You can even do a couple of little tricks like take a straw, cut the straw down about, say, half an inch, plastic straw, wrap it around, slide it around and glue it or tape it into place around the LED light so it becomes more directional and even more diffused. The advantage is you still have an open end, so wherever you have focused light, you're actually going to have a beam of LED light. And you know how those are. They look like little candies, what they look like, little barrel candies from the 60s and 70s. I don't know if you remember those. But little tiny nugget candies, but they were clear. Well, that's what these LEDs look like to me. So anyway, they do work. They're cheap. In fact, if you watch when we get through with Halloween, there will be a window where they want to dump them on the market, and we've bought them for 27 cents, 37 cents a piece at Big Lot. There may not be as many because Big Lot's peeling back their inventory. They're hurting just like everybody else is, and they're rolling up the sidewalk anyway on America. But at either the regular price or at the discount price, those are a neat little lighting system. If you got a foxhole, if you got a defensive position with overhead cover, You don't need a super bright light at night. You just need enough to be able to see to move around. And you string those little lights overhead or down below, and you've got enough illumination that it's not going to, burn your eyeballs out, but, again, also not attract attention with the enemy. Now, we're going to get into a season change. That's right. When we do, we're going to see white, green, and red. Now, we've talked about this. Red is the traditional blackout lighting. However, red really shows up on night vision with green screen, with real green screen, real night vision tubes. Green, on the other hand, is relatively invisible. So recommendations, all of them would work. If you want some little white lights as portable light with LED, then these little double or triple, they're either 3 AAA or 2 AA batteries typically. Some have 3, depends on who made them. Little battery pack, and then it's a string of like Christmas lights. Only in first is the Halloween colors, second will be the Christmas colors. The green ones are really great for tactical deployment. And again, it's one of those things where they sip energy, they don't take up much. You don't just leave them running, you only use them when you need them. And again, for tent lighting, perfect, guys. Now, there's all kinds of little lanterns and stuff which are good to have around. And something that I just ran into, one of the suppliers, same one that gives us brought us the Axion red, blue, green sights, has something unique. They have a tent stake with a built-in fold-out LED light. Now, it can't be very powerful, and I would say it's probably no more powerful than maybe one of those little Christmas light or Halloween lights we're talking about, just one of them. However, these are kind of interesting because, of course, the argument is that you're illuminating the tent stakes so you don't run into them at night. That's not a bad idea, but I don't really want to light up my area for aerial observation or for ground observation. On the other hand, these are kind of interesting to use for mucking with somebody's head because there's a tent stake. The stake, if they're already staked, they pivot. So if I want to create the illusion, I got a bunch of guys out there who are doofs that are using, let's say red light or green light, they're not supposed to, or, illumination. I can actually have these things kind of set up in I can make this part of what is a deception kit. So I'm going to look at those and see what they're like. I'm doing a test on those. But again, lighting for the tents, you need it lightweight. You want it, if you can, so you can leave it with the tentage. That would be nice. Make up a kit. I watch for tent stakes that everybody's chucking and getting rid of. I got 2 bags full of pup tent type, small L type, push steel rods, regular tent stakes of any kind and size you can imagine. But I do have a lot of them. And because of that, whenever I get a free tent, I don't have to go, buy some stakes. I just sort out the ones that all match and put them with the free tent that I just got, like one we got last weekend. It's kind of a lime green. It's almost not. I don't know for sure. I can't really say that. It's got the same kind of rods that we had with another one that we used when we were visiting the Stones here for one of the meetups. It's a little smaller, I think. So again, anyway, the idea is that you put the stakes together, you put the tent together, check to make sure everything's there, and then you throw in some lighting. You can even throw in 1 or 2 tools, like utility tools, make a little bag or pouch up, roll everything up together inside the tent. When the time comes, you've got everything you need. You can throw it at somebody and say, take it over there, deploy it, get it under cover, camouflage it, and away we go. Congratulations, there's your housing for the night, or at least to rest for a bit out of the weather. It may not be at night. It might be broad daylight. Because remember, we got a 24-hour shift. You're going to war, people. The people are going to be sleeping during the day. They'll have no choice. You're going to be doing day shift, night shift. And some days, ain't nobody getting any rest. You all know how that works. So anyway, solutions, not just complaining about the problems. Now I'm going to switch over another direction because something else jumped out at me today. And this is over at majorsurplus.com, www.majorsurplus.com, and talking about tents. Well, that's communications. Nothing. It has to do with preparedness and comfort. So if you go over to majorsurplus.com, majorsurplus.com, they have a Dutch. It's supposed to be a 2-man plus tent. It's designed actually. It's a regular military issue tent. I think this is rather interesting. I don't know how I missed it in any of the other supply circles, so I haven't seen it anywhere else. And Major is on the West Coast, so they run into stuff out there that we might not necessarily see here, okay? But Dutch camo tint, and let's see if I can get it up here. I'm trying to do it off the cuff. Somebody, oh well. And their page is really twitchy today. Let's put it that way. So we're having a big problem with that. Anyway, well, let's do it this way. Anyway, I've got to buy time. I'm doing this while I'm on the air, which, of course, happens all the time. One of the advantages, this is a canvas, but a very light canvas, typical end of the Cold War, middle Cold War, end of the Cold War tactical tents that you saw in Europe. We haven't seen any of the Eastern European shelter quarters for a while. I love those. If I could get more, I'd get more, but you can't, or the few you find are stupid priced to the point where they're outrageous. The big advantage of such a system is that most of the shelter quarters and shelter halves can be used for other work. And there's a lot of other things that you can do with a shelter half once you have it in service. The big thing is you need to have it in hand to work with it. So I'm looking to see if we have another link. And, of course, it always bollocks up. Major Surplus's page has become real twitchy the last couple of days. A lot of interesting stuff has been happening on the Internet, which you may or may not have noticed with the social media click. A bunch of people were bumped last couple of days. They may have been testing to see who would actually check to see if they were, if the system was lying. But we had a lot of people who said they were bumped for 7 days, 9 days, which is 9 days kind of weird. It's like, where the hell did that number come from? Et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, only to have a hiccup in the whole of the system. This is Facebook, Twitter. Everybody's been talking about this, commenting only because they weren't sure that they could even communicate on any of these BS social media sites.
There we go. You can hear me, Dad?
Yeah, go ahead, Edward, we got you.
That should not be a surprise to many people. We've actually announced this on the air ourselves. YouTube, Facebook, Twitter have all announced that by the end of October, they're going to be cutting a lot of the news feeds that cover quote-unquote conspiracy theories or unverified facts, blah, 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 according to Southern Poverty Law Center and the other agencies that are monitoring their channels. So that's why I've been warning people, we may be on YouTube right now. They've already been flagging the channel and knocking us off, so it's only a matter of time probably before we're off the air over there too, because that's the agenda, and they're trying to get it done before the end of October.
Which, by the way, it's the 20th, so for everybody, pay attention there. One of the other things is copy anything you want, duplicate it, put it on disk. In fact, if you would, if you see anything or any of the videos that we've posted over the years, because when they're gone, they're gone. I mean, we'll save them. We're trying to make sure we got everything on disk. But we can assume that, again, this could happen at any time. There's a bunch of other social media sites that are smart enough that they're picking up all of the failure by all of the old, it's the present generation that's dying, let's put it that way. Facebook, Twitter, all of them are going to progressively slit their own tendons the rest of the way. Spreely is one of them. Spreely is out there. Basic format's the same as Farcebook/Facebook. And pretty much anything goes. You can post anything you want. They're trying to build up. Now, eventually, they'll become politically correct. Nothing changes. Nothing's new under the sun. But for the time being, in theory, supposedly, they're neutral. They'll be neutral as long as they can collect customers and then move things. We'll see if they stay that way. Bitreon is another one. There's a whole bunch of other independents. I think, Natural News started Bitreon. But it has been picking up pace, and that is kind of an equivalent to YouTube in that you can post videos and anything else you want, and it's not going to be restricted. So Bitreon is another one that might be an option, and everybody should not drop. You're old. I keep repeating this. Stay on whatever Farcebook, Bingo, Dingo, Dig, Dug, Wug, Pug, whatever. And post the information on how to go to the other sites. I do that all the time. Plus, of course, I always do the link for www.libertytreeradio.4mg.com. That's www.libertytreeradio.4mg.com. And if you all do the same thing, type it in. When you do a comment, always put our webpage at the end of it, please. If everybody saturates the battlefield like that, remember that with the way the pages are set up, they highlight, and you actually have a direct link. Now, I'm sure they don't like that. The Spreely is kind of interesting, only in that apparently it's the big wave right now, which is why, like I said, we'll see how that plays out. As soon as they start to think that they're bigger, or maybe the ring knockers may just wash in. If they aren't already there, they'll just wash in with some cash, and it's like we saw with Yahoo and a bunch of these others. They were independent, and then Google eventually just brought in so much money that they've all been pretty well, castrated and lobotomized, and they become just, Google zombies, Goo zombies. The same is true with the rest of this dribble. Keep using it, keep, changing out, and some really are owned by people who care. So if you can find the right area, get into it, but don't just do one. We've always repeated this. Always hang on to the old until it finally dies, and they'll hang on to it. They'll drag it along, especially now the ring knockers are trying to, they're thinking that everybody will just ignore what they're doing to us and just keep doing, dancing on one leg and rubbing your tummy and blinking your eyes. No, everybody's already tired of that. Everybody's saying the same thing. That's why they're looking for new homes. The big thing is interlink all of those new homes. You know what's going to happen to the next one. Common sense, prior proper planning prevents piss poor performance. Yeah, I know. Another thing here real quick before I forget. Let's see, hold on. You know what? It's interesting. I got up on Major, and I don't know what happened this afternoon, but Major Surplus did a bit of a crash. Here's what I'd recommend. There is a Dutch, it's not a regular pup tent. It's actually one of the later model. It is part of the integrated DPM Dutch camouflage field gear system. It is longer on one side than the other. It does have full, walls, panels. I think it even has the bug net built in. And it has a zipper system, which is real popular. The Dutch did this with all their equipment. They zip all of their add-on pouches onto the core pouch. The Brits did something similar. Well, they also did this with these particular tent systems so you can double the size of them. You can zip one tent to the next, which is kind of cool. But they are designed to freestand on their own. So here's the other interesting thing about that. Those make real good camouflage vehicle covers. Oh, yeah. And they're actually pretty resilient. They are a light-duty canvas, if you're not familiar with it. You might remember the shelter quarters that we got that were East German, also the West German ones. They had the shelter quarters that were Belgian, the French shelter quarters, which were fantastic, especially in the original lizard pattern, not the green lizard, the doe skin lizard. In fact, that particular shelter quarter is a predator camouflage that they never made a uniform in. I thought that's rather fascinating. Or if they did, I don't know where they went, but they obviously got handed back out to troops until they died in the field, equipment-wise, as far as wearing out. But the French 1952 to 1954 brown/doe green rust lizard paintbrush pattern. It's actually an abstract tiger stripe like the Dutch and British DPM camo. It was a phenomenal. This time of year, it's a fade disappear camo. Can't find any of it. Even the shelter quarters, I don't know of anybody who has them in the surplus industry anymore in that pattern, but you do see some of the Bulgarian. You might see some of the Austrian. Just pay attention. They used to be a $5, $6 item. Now they're much, 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 much more. In this case, this Dutch tent, complete with everything, the whole tent is $34.95. To be quite honest, the U.S. pup tent will sleep 3 people easily. Everybody understand that? Yeah, you're not so much squeezing in, but you all can fit in there. But 3 people can fit in a standard U.S. pup tent. This thing is bigger, so 3 people could comfortably house in this tent. And, you know, your gear, in theory, the idea behind the way they built the tent is that not only you're in there, but your gear's all undercover. That's why they built it the way they did. But if you go over to majorsurplus.com, majorsurplus.com, www.majorsurplus.com, you'll find that they have the Dutch DPM camo infantry ground tents. And they are not a bad price for what they are. For $34, for being the material that they're made out of, it's hard to find that now. So apparently they're in excellent condition. They are a military surplus item, and so they are definitely worth investing in. And I don't do that. You know, I try to find you stuff for pennies. That's actually a pretty good price for what the product is. All right. Now,
Mark?
Go ahead, caller.
Yeah, this is Fluffy. I wrote down Victreon, which I assume is spelled Vitreon.com, but I was not able to write down the other one before it kind of faded in the distance in my head.
Vitreon.
Vitreon.com, the alternative to YouTube.
Bitreon. B with a B, not B. Bravo. Bitreon.
I will change that.
And the other one is Spreely. Hold on here. Let's make sure it's working right now. The best way to do it is try it while I'm right here, because it is Communications Tuesday. What's interesting is, again, it's real simple to connect to. It is www.spreely.com, Spreely.com. And let's see if it pops up the way it's supposed to, because the system is, everything's acting up, it looks like today, on and off right now. There we go. Yep, it's good. Yeah, Spreely is up. Well, Spreely actually is pretty big right now. So Spreely. Spreely. Sierra, Papa, Romeo, Echo, Lima, Yankee, Dot, Charlie, Oscar, Mama, or Michael, or Mango, if you really want to be tropical. But it's, again, Spreely.com, www.spreely.com. And then you set up...
Spreely.
Yep, Spreely. I don't know where they got that. It's like speak freely. Maybe that's what it is. I'm Spreelyan, man. I'm Spreely, and I'm speaking freely. So it's Spreely. I'm trying to, when you see something like that, remember somebody's trying to, play on words, so or at least come up with a construction. And so they did. It works. Spreely.com. Spreely.com. Go over there. I'm already over there. If you look for Mark Kornke and, become friends. Everybody will be happy. I'll shake hands, say smile, and, get connected. That'll work out. And, again, the big thing there is you can post pictures, you can post videos, you can make comments. And so the construction is pretty much, and along with the scroll, the way the scroll is set up, you'll be familiar with if you do Facebook or any of the others that are formatted similar to Facebook, you can handle it. You should be able to handle it anyway. Some of the pages are just not user-friendly. I will point this out. I'm going to say this again. It's Communications Tuesday. Guys, some of them I post stuff on randomly, but they're so obnoxious to deal with, and some are just as politically correct, if not already worse than Farcebook and YouTube. I just put it up there to make sure I keep putting www.libertytreeradio.4mg.com in as many different venues as I can, and or www.colonialmarinemilitia.4mg.com. Again, that's www.colonialmarinemilitia.4mg.com. Put a picture up there, put a video up there, but whenever you do, always post a comment and always put www.libertytreeradio.4mg.com. Saturation. If you all helped and did that, it makes a big difference. It really does. We have numbers. We just have to use our numbers. That's my biggest problem with most of what I see here. Everybody in lamentations, gnashing of teeth, rending of hair. And And it's like, why?
Hey, Mark?
Go ahead, caller. Jump in there. We're almost at the top.
Yeah, this is Mike. You said Bitreon. The guy at Natural News started one. It's called Brighteon.
Oh, that's it. Oh, yeah, you're right. Nope. Slap Mark in the microphone.
Okay.
Brighteon. I said Bitreon, didn't I? Hey, there probably is a Bitreon. Don't, bite me. Don't bite me on the rear end.
Okay.
Brighteon. Yeah, thank you. No, Brighteon. You're absolutely right. Brighteon. And Natural News, you guys, he doesn't do anything he's not politically sensitive. He just talks common sense, and that's why he's politically sensitive to the ring knocking fairy fruits that run everything else. So again, thank you appreciate that. Yeah, Brighteon. Slap me in the microphone. Let me double check to make sure that's working right. As long as it's Communications Tuesday, so www.Brighteon. And we should be up, and I am on there too, by the way. Actually, I'm already over there. Liberty Tree Radio's over there.
All right.
Brighteon. So, huge domain names. Okay, wait a minute. How did I get that wrong? Well, slap me the microphone if I'm doing it wrong. There we go. Okay, that's probably where I screwed up. Maybe I'm not as bright as I should be. There we go. Yeah, Brighteon. 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 And you're going to find that is pretty extensive already, guys. A lot of videos up there. A lot of other subjects posted. And thank you for correcting me on that. Slap Mark in the microphone sideways. Hit me 3 times. There we go. Brighteon. Bravo, Romeo, India, George, Hotel, Tango, Echo, Oscar, November, Dot, Charlie, Oscar, macadamia nut. That's Brighteon, BRIGHTEON.com. And yes, we're Liberty Tree Radio's over there. I'm over there, and I've already been posting a little bit, not as much because I haven't had a chance. I can only do so many things at once. And that's still not a problem, by the way. People go, I can only do so much. Guys, just do what you can. Minimize. Go over, do 2, 3, 4 postings, go on to something else, or do something else. If you're busy and you can't spend a whole lot of time there, well, that's it. But, tag, get in there and start, participating, helping out, pitching in with people who need a little more coverage. This is where, again, everybody complains about what the scammers are doing. Well, somebody's come up with a solution. Okay, we're not just complaining about the problem. Other allies have come up with solutions. Use them. Remember that line from Space Invaders? Do something! You're the pilot! Okay, so I'm not flying your plane. That's obvious. Anyway, here goes another one. Oh, God, they're dropping out of the sky. Anyway, a couple other things real quick. On that note, boy, this is really kind of cool. There is I've noticed it's out there. I don't know how many of them we're going to run into real quick, guys. But Rock Island Armory has got a couple of reasonably priced pump shotguns that they've put out.
What's up, Drew?
And, as a matter of fact, you just heard the noise for the ad in the background, or not an ad, but a review. Somebody actually asked me about these. Well, there's some pretty cool, and they're actual gun reviews over on Brighteon because they don't restrict that. So BRIGHTEON, Rock Island Armory, all generation pump shotgun, all gen pump AG12, and there are a couple of different good videos on the system. So if you've been asking about it, there's a place to look. And there's some, well, let's see, this one's 6 minutes, 49 seconds long. There's some pretty good coverage, operation, basic construction. I mean, pump shotguns are pretty straightforward anyway, come on. But because most people do have questions, it's easier to go to the people who are playing with that particular system. And you can't necessarily do that on YouTube now, but you can do it over on Brighteon. So get over there, plug in, become part of the system, and promote Brighteon. This is where we got to have solutions. Are they going to shut everything down when the time comes? Oh, hell yes. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't make a difference how much independent you do if they shut the machine down. Okay, that's when we go to war, that will be happening. That's why we have to have mechanical systems as backups, not just the pages working on the enemy system. Okay, we have to have physical alternatives that are ours, which is another thing that is critical. Anyway, but meanwhile, our physical alternative is that we have to get ready for the second hour. We should be hearing the music here in a moment. It is the top of this hour. God bless our republic. Yes, to the New World Order. We shall prevail, ladies and gentlemen. The Empire's on the run. We're in a march, and we're going to get out of the way for a minute. Take a break, go use the bathroom, grab some coffee, whatever you're going to do. Second hour of the Intel Report coming up. It is Communications Tuesday on Liberty Tree Radio. Brighteon, B-R-I, Brighteon, not Bitreon. Brighteon. I think I moved the R on top of everything else, didn't I? Anyway, guys, we'll be back in a few minutes.
Shine on the old Liberty tree. It's a tall old tree and a strong old tree. And we are the sons, yes, we are the sons of liberty. March along with the Piper boys, we were born forever free. Let's go pay the Piper boys beneath the Liberty tree. It's a tall old tree and a strong old tree. And we are the sons, yes, we are the sons of liberty. Pay the price they're asking, boys, always pay the tyrant's fee. Never give up the struggle, boys, fight for the liberty tree. It's a tall old tree and a strong old tree. And we are the sons, yes, we are the sons of liberty. Stand for the rights of man, boys, stand against all tyranny. Hang the lance of freedom, boys, high on the liberty tree. It's a tall old tree and a strong old tree. And we are the sons, yes, we are the sons of liberty. It will grow as we grow, boys, it will be as strong as we. We must cling to our faith, boys, faith in the liberty tree. It's a tall old tree and a strong old tree. And we are the sons, yes, we are the sons of liberty.
Liberty's Guardian, Guns and Ammunition, a family-owned business located in the heart of Ohio's hunting country. Let us help you find the right shotgun or rifle for you. Or if you're looking for a pistol or concealed carry, we have a nice selection of compact and subcompact pistols for that too. Check out our website at www.libertiesguardian.com. That website again is www.libertiesguardian.com. Go to the website and check out our selection today.
We all need to prepare ourselves. You might have the food, water, gold, and silver, but ask yourself, are you truly prepared? That's why you need to visit MaineMilitary.com. MaineMilitary.com carries everything you need. Gas masks, fire starter kits, high-capacity magazines, chemical suits, military surplus items, and much more. Do you own a firearm? MaineMilitary.com has a large selection of pistols and rifles suited for your needs. Are your local stores sold out of ammunition? Call or visit them today for prices on hard-to-find ammo and bulk ammo orders. You don't need to worry about having a military surplus store in your area because MaineMilitary.com is the only store you'll ever need, all from the comfort of your computer. Visit them online today at MaineMilitary.com. That's Maine, like the state, military.com.
I had a dream the other night that, well, I didn't understand. A figure walked in through the mist with a flintlock in his hand. His clothes were torn and dirty as he stood there by my bed. He took off his three-cornered hat, and speaking low to me, he said, "We fought a revolution to secure our liberty. We wrote the Constitution as a shield from tyranny. For future generations, this legacy we gave. In this, the land of the free and home of the brave. The freedoms we secured for you, we hoped you to always keep. But tyrants labored endlessly while your parents were asleep. Your freedom's gone, your courage lost. You're no more than a slave. In this, the land of the free and home of the brave. You buy permits to travel and permits to own a gun, permits to start a business or to build a place for one. On land that you believe you own, you pay a yearly rent, although you have no voice in saying how the money's spent. Your children must attend a school that doesn't educate, and your Christian values can't be taught according to the state. You read about the current news in a regulated press, and you pay a tax you do not owe to please the IRS. Your money is no longer made of silver nor of gold. You trade your wealth for paper so your life can be controlled. You pay for crimes that make our nation turn from God and shame. You've taken Satan's number. You've traded in your name. You've given government control to those who do you harm so they could burn down churches and seize the family farm and keep our country deep in debt, put men of God in jail, harass your fellow countrymen while corrupted courts prevail. Your public servants don't uphold the solemn oaths they've sworn, and your daughters visit doctors so their children won't be born. Your leaders send artillery and guns to foreign shores and send your sons to slaughter fighting other people's wars. Can you regain the freedoms for which we fought and died? Or don't you have the courage or the faith to stand with pride? And are there no more values for which you'll fight to save? Or do you wish your children to live in fear and be a slave? O sons of the Republic, arise, take a stand. Defend the Constitution, the supreme law of the land. Preserve our great republic and each God-given right. And pray to God to keep the torch of freedom burning bright. As I awoke, he'd vanished in the mist from whence he came. His words were true. We are not free, but we have ourselves to blame. For even now as tyrants trample each God-given right, we only watch and tremble, too afraid to stand and fight. If he stood by your bedside in a dream while you were asleep and wondered what remains of the freedoms he'd fought to keep, what would be your answer if he called out from the grave? Is this still the land of the free and home of the brave? God bless you, and God bless this republic.
And good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is the second hour of the afternoon Intelligence Report. I'm Mark Kornke. One day closer to victory for all of our brothers and sisters, both on and behind the lines in occupied territories, southwest, east, northeast, and south. Ladies and gentlemen, you were listening to us on Libertytreeradio.4mg.com, Liberty Tree Radio on YouTube, live stream, and we are on AM and FM micro stations, AM and FM conventional stations, CB base stations, and Ultranet, Hallmark, and Golden Spike Technologies, east and west of the Mississippi, along with Alaska. Good afternoon to all of our friends out there in Lower 49, including the great state of Jefferson, along with CONUS, the outlying two states and territories, and the clock. It is 6:11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It is Tuesday, Communications Tuesday. It is the 20th of October. It is the 12th year of open Fabian Socialist and Soviet Socialist occupation of America with a K, 2020 Old Earth calendar, 2020 year of conflict, year of betrayal, battle for the Republic, dance of swords. And again, it is the 20th of October, so we are looking at 2/3 of the month already gone for October, guys. Just a heads up on that one. Want to address something else real quick here. A lot of guys are, looking for pattern standardization for their units, the militia units that are out there. Recommendation, if you're looking at woodland, which is a good idea, there is French woodland, there is Hungarian. The Hungarian's a little more off than the rest, but the French and Italian, the French CCE and the Italian woodland are so close that you won't know the difference. And there is a bunch of the big size stuff showing up right now, specifically in the woodland pattern. Big as in with the French coats and the Dutch, actually, the same way. But the Dutch have a DPM paintbrush pattern, which, go look, you'll see the difference. The colors are the same, though, for our standard woodland pattern as far as the Dutch DPM camouflage. If you look at the shade range, so they do blend well, especially smaller items, and as far as working together. But the French CCE equipment includes some pretty decent middle-era web gear, such as the French military surplus tactical vests. The price is up and down, but they are actually a pretty good piece of equipment for what they are. Needless to say, there's been some French armor. There's still a little bit of that left, but not much in body armor. And also the counterpart in the desert pattern, which, by the way, for Michigan is a pretty good fall pattern because it's not the wash lighter colors that you see with the DCU, which is a good pattern for Michigan for fall also into winter. But it has larger splotches of what is a medium doe skin, a tan, and, of course, a russet brown. So in the French camo, the biggest problem is finding pants, okay? But I don't care what country you're looking at. Pants are a minority item and stupid price by comparison to tops. You can find tops all over the place. And you can find tops even discount or marked down. But pants, no. Few and far between. Stupid. It shouldn't be that way, but it is, okay? So for everybody, if you're looking at, outfitting a unit, woodland camo, U.S. stuff and pants are out there. Let me give you an example, like even in the French stuff real quick here. $26.99, French military surplus pants, CCE, brand new, of course. And let's see what the size range is. I'm just curious myself. I only have extra large, which is not bad because it'll fit a lot of smaller people, but extra large, $27 for a pair of pants, okay? Guys, we were paying, we've been pampered. We had $14, $12, $14, $6, $8 for surplus, stuff like this for the longest time. And even then I would say that the 12 with, 14, the 14 and more was a little high. It was surplus. Well, right now, because of the wartime footing that the country's in on top of everything else, the other side knows that they can charge more, and they'll typically get away with it to a degree. Now, this is where, like I've said a million times, no matter what equipment you're looking at, I don't care if it's radio gear, I don't care if it's tactical gear, I don't care if it's tools, you got to cherry pick and shop around. You can't just stop in one place, and you will not get the job done. It's just simply, it's not available, or the stuff is goofy price for one item, but reasonably priced for another. So you need to balance that out, okay? It's not hard to do, if you cherry pick. The other thing I will point out is I mentioned camo, but it doesn't have to be camouflage. That's something else we need to point out. OD green or any of the other field colors, if you're going to commit to them, you can go to resale shops and pretty well buy everything you need over the counter, and the prices are reasonable. In fact, sometimes giveaway. Right now, a lot of places are glutted because everybody's terrified of the coronavirus. Oh, my God, the coronavirus is going to get you. It's going to the coronavirus. You're going to die. Well, because of that, everybody's gone goofy, and, there's stuff piled up, but nobody's moving stuff the way they were. So, if you look around in the resale shops, you'd be amazed at what you can find sitting there for a very reasonable price and in pretty good quantity. And that's really what we need as much as anything else. You need replacements, you need spares, you need quantity. One of the things I've argued is when the time comes, we take and have purchasing agents, if you haven't done this in your area, have so many dollars, and you go to one of the if you have a resale store where they sort by color, a lot of them do, which is really great. You just go in and everything that's OD green on the shelf, pants, anything OD green in shirts, jackets, or, even in like leaf pattern. I've got a shirt I wore yesterday. It's not a camouflage shirt, but it might as well be. It's done with a series of regular maple leaves and oak leaves and whatever, and it was designed to be an art idea. But what it comes down to is you step out here right now, and it's a camouflage shirt. That's fine. That works out just fine. So, having a purchasing agent ready to go out with a plastic card, if the feces hit the oscillating device, to round up as much clothing as you could for the least amount of money. In other words, you take all the pants, no matter what they are, if they're OD green, and then the next after that would be all the earth brown colors, because those are another good choice, and you just grab everything, whatever's there. Tell them, hey, I'll make a deal. I'll make you a deal here. Let's come up with a price that's much better than the tag price, but I'll take everything on the rack from here to there. Now, make me a deal. Otherwise, I'm not interested. In other words, hey, they got a chance to sell a whole bunch of stuff and clear out that whole inventory. Some of that stuff's been sitting there for a little bit because not everybody likes green. So just, again, another way to put reserves on the shelf where they need to be when the time comes. Now, I'm going to point out again something else, because somebody said, hey, Mark, over at Sportsman's Guide, I know I saw them. They have some municipal surplus complete MREs, $90 a case for 12 meals, okay? Guys, right now, heads up again, if you were looking at trying to put rations together for your backpack, go over to Dollar Tree, pull off the can shelf. And by the way, they do have retort pouch items over there for $1 an item. No matter what it is, it's $1 an item. I can put more food into a backpack. What I just did the other day here, they've got a example is you want crackers, you want cheese, you want a yummy, so you want something in the way of a dessert item, you want a main course, and you want a nibbler, something that's nibbly. You take your pick, can be any number of things. What I mean by nibbles is a treat. Okay, another treat, usually like a trail mix, whatever. If you go over there with a few dollars, with $20, you can buy, for instance, there is a retort foil pouched cracker that they have. It's just a regular, Ritz type cracker. Well, each one of the pouches, there's I think 3 pouches to each box, are foil wrapped and sealed, so they're virtually indefinite. Now, the smaller ones on the shelf they're $1 and you don't get quite as many ounces. But each one of the little rounds of Ritz crackers, there's 6 to a box, and each one is in the same kind of cello foil retort type pouch. Not as tough as the heavy retort meal pouches, but they are in a Mylar retort pouch. Each one of the bundles of crackers, about the perfect size for a single sitting. In other words, if you were giving one person something to eat, you give them one of the Cheese Whiz packs of, retort pouches of cheese. You give them one of these little bundles of crackers. You give them a can of enchiladas. You give them a can of take or pick of fruits, whatever you want. Although if you get the big peach Australian peach cans, that would be best. I told you before, bigger is better because you're going to be hungry in the field. Well, you'd be eating better than you would with that MRE. In fact, if you take a look at the numbers, okay, for the dollars you're spending, it's cheaper and you get more for less to go into the Dollar Tree site and cherry pick off the shelf there, whatever they have. And don't forget, a couple 2-pound bags of rice wouldn't hurt either. And that's just a throw-in. There is no reason for you not to have, not a 72-hour, but for $20, you could be eating for a week. As an individual, if you were smart and look at the weight and volume, what do you need, what do you get? And then if you want to add some, goodie items on top of that, congratulations, man, you're eating like a king in the field.
And for $1, you get 4 toilet paper rolls.
Yeah, exactly. You know what? That is something we haven't mentioned. You're right. Right now, a quarter a roll for toilet paper over at Dollar Tree, and they have it. And right now, every time we go, we buy some. I've mentioned this for years. What's the big deal with not just like everything else? Just keep plugging it away. And the price is right. So putting 4 rolls of toilet paper in your backpack, or at least 1 or 2 in your backpack, doesn't really hurt. Oh, wait a minute. No, wait a minute. For your rear end, it doesn't hurt at all.
And buy some baggies on top of that, so you can put them in baggies to keep them dry.
Exactly. In fact, you go right over to Dollar Tree, over to the baggie aisle, and they've got Ziploc bags right there. You get 20, 10, 15, 19 for $1 or whatever it is. Some of them have extras. They've got a special, which is always a forever thing.
Number 4 here. You can also portion out the rice there, too, in different packs, too, while you're doing that.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, on the rice thing, they've got Brazilian, Paraguayan, and Uruguayan rice, depending on which store you go to right now at the same time. And the beans right now, for the moment, where we are, come from Brazil also, the same as the 1 bag of rice. The brown rice is coming from, I think that's Brazil too. Yeah, Nancy said, I think it's Brazil. We've got some right around the corner here from where I'm sitting. And one of the things I want to do is a little picture on that point, little photograph just of what I picked out for a goodie, like I said, for a little goodie bundle to put in a backpack. Over at Dollar Tree, thank you, number 4. Another thing here real quick, they don't always have any big bags of sugar / carbohydrate / candy anymore, but for the Christmas, for the Halloween bag candy, they have a soft chew toffee with a chewy, gooey center, a full 1 pound bag for $1. You grab one of those, you throw that in with all the rest of the junk, and you got some nibblies, you got some, what the candy is. I know a lot of people poo-poo, it's sugar, oh my God. Guys, candy originally was supposed to be a treat. And if you don't eat, just gobble it, okay? The idea is that it is especially a pick-me-up in bad time situations. The Army did it for a number of different reasons. That's why they also put the chewing gum in there. The chewing gum is a treat, but it's also part of the interdental stimulator program, okay? Those 2 little chiclets were all supposed to help also, get the plaque and stuff off the teeth. You also had that big oversized toothpick. The candy that was put in there was designed to be a pick-me-up. It was obviously going to throw carbohydrates in, going to throw, calories in, but it's also psychologically a pick-me-up. So that's another item. A good point, Dollar Tree.
We would also put the peppermint candy in our winter MRE coffee, and people that like to have sugar in their coffee would use the caramel candy in their MRE coffee.
There you go.
When you get a chance, Mark, I got a boot sale for you.
Go right ahead. Jump in there.
Okay, it's over at LA Police Gear. They're $95 boots. They only had the small sizes left for $29. Brand new. And this is over at LA Police Gear, $24.99. We're $95.99. They're side zip black, and they have size 7, 7.5, and 8 left in standard width. So all the others are sold out. And then over at KY Gun Co., they have the Italian Carcano Cavalry Carbine in stock for $244.99 with a fold-out bayonet. Okay, and then over at the same
hold on, don't go away right away.
I'll repeat it.
Repeat the address 3 times. Remember, do that so everybody can write it down. Go slow.
Well, this is the same address, and I'll repeat all of them. This is also a high-point carbine, 10 millimeter, 17.5 black 10-round target stock. It is on sale for $369.99. And again, it's at KY Gun Co. KY, I guess it stands for KentuckyGunCo.com. And that's for the high point and for the M91 Italian Carcano Cavalry Carbine, 6.5 times 52 with a 17.5 barrel for $244.99.
If we need stripper clips, which you will, you're going to need the Mannlicher clips for the Carcano. Sarco, has them or has had them. With this flurry of guns coming in, they might have sold out again, but they have had the Mannlicher Carcano stripper clips that you need for the Carcano rifle. Used to be the ammo came, obviously, when military production came in the stripper clips. The ammunition coming from previous just regular 20-round boxes, so you want to find and track down and hang on to the stripper clips for the rifle. They hold 6 rounds, and it's a beautiful weapon. That's not a bad gun. The biggest problem has been ammunition, but there has been some. Boxer Prime non-corrosive heat anneal, brand new, Prevy Partisan PPU 6.5 Carcano. It's available. It's out there. It's been floating around with several different companies. As a matter of fact, AIM has had it a couple of times here in the last month where it's gotten into stock, and they've had both the ball and the pencil bullet soft point. So either one works just fine, especially since it's a manually operated gun. The weapon's so simple and easy to use, it's ridiculous. Anybody can handle a Carcano. And in fact, there's even been some arguments now that we're farther away from World War II, that it actually was a pretty decent design in this last model, which it was. I wouldn't have a problem you giving it to me. I just understand it doesn't have really sophisticated sights, so it serves a certain purpose. It fits a certain niche, and it's in with the folding bayonet, nice little package, not real heavy. It's a spike bayonet. Some were longer than others, depending on the model, and they are still out there and hanging around. So. And there is ammunition for it, though.
I also found something for your guys with bad ankles, bad backs, or stuck in wheelchairs and things like that, and they're tired of looking for ammo. You can get over at Impact Guns. You can get this Extermic Technologies Pulsefire LRT Flamethrower. It shoots out 25 feet, holds 0.35 gallons of fuel, and you put the guy in the wheelchair at the end of the hallway, and he just keeps that hallway clear. And
Exactly.
it's on sale for $649.
Well, again,
that's at Impact Guns for this flamethrower for $649 at impactguns.com.
Here, hold my butane for me.
Yeah. I mean, light your cigarette there, buddy.
Well,
again,
so far. Yeah, one of the things, too, is remember, if you're on fire, you're usually too busy worrying about that to bother with much of anything else at the time.
Yeah.
You get highly motivated. Okay, let's put it this way. You get highly motivated and figure out how to stop what it just got started. So that's one of the reasons that it's not bad. Flame technology, even if you have to improvise in other ways, is useful. That's why I've always told everybody, ground flares. What do we need the ground flares for? Starting things on fire. You can also use it to illuminate a target area if you want to, throw it in amongst your enemy. But there's all kinds of application for flame technology, and everybody needs to embrace it because we are going into we're going into the battle axes and broadswords scenario, guys. And
it's the perfect thing to bring to a politician's barbecue uninvited.
Yeah. Oh God, it burns.
Let me cook your wieners for you.
Yeah. Don't even open the package. You can just leave it right where it is. I'm looking at, there was a couple other things here real quick. You brought us over to the LA police gear. I always look at the clearance.
Yeah.
There was, although it looks like, here's what's cute. You got to watch this site. They leave things up even though they're gone. They had Rothko GI style jungle boots for $10 a pair. Mm. But they're out. They list them, but every size is gone. So that's one. Now, there is another shoe here that's relatively cheap. Oh, they actually have it, but only in the smaller sizes. All of those buggers. They have it in apparently like a brown. Hold on here. Yeah, earth brown, medium brown, dark coyote, and also in gray. It is or they're calling it Gunsmoke, I'm sorry. Anyway, it is a 3-eyelet, simple chukka-type shoe, size 4, size 5, size 6, and size 6.5. So what's that good for? Got any children out there you need to put footwear on? Guess what? This is how my kids grew up. They were wearing combat boots and brand new military boots in the small adult sizes. And these are in good colors. I mean, it's, like I said, earth brown, coyote, and gray. They're size 4, size 5, size 6, size 6.5, and they're $17 a pair. They were $120. So for what they are, if you got any ladies out there, don't forget girls typically have smaller feet, not always, but usually. And so for you girls, this is a pair of decent utility shoes you can put in the pack as a spare, which I really, there's two ways you can do this with spares. You can do a spare set of shoes like this or a spare low set of chukka boots that are light duty, or you can go rubber boots, which I still recommend anyway. Rubber boots will cover a multitude of sins if you have to put something else on and, keep everything from wearing down. But if you got to put another pair of something that's blazing white or maybe even red tennis shoes, guess what? You pull the green tactical rubber boots over that, and it looks just fine. But your feet are dry, and you're wearing another pair of shoes while you're not wearing out the better boots that you've got, because you're going to have to make every mile count. And that's the part everybody's going to miscalculate, thinking they have enough footwear. I'm just telling you in advance. Don't say somebody didn't warn you, because it's going to be a reality here real quick. The Chinese are already cutting a lot of stuff off. Even when they're replacing this, I mean, look at the discount prices. I mean, they're okay, but think about what prices were just, say, 2, 3, and 5 years ago, and take a look at where the market is now. Okay, now they've always been expensive and well-made or better-made boots, or, again, expensive, but maybe not even better-made. But they are out. They've always been out there. But there's not even really any chintz boot that you can find. The only way you're going to find a cheaper boot is where they finally go down to the last of the inventory, which we've demonstrated time and again on the program. Anything else? Number 4.
Yes. At the LA Gear, are you looking at the $8.99 shoe?
Oh, which one?
It's the 511.
That's the one I think I just looked at there.
They just have the brown and the 4, 5, and 6. It's like a low shoe with the cleats on the bottom of it.
Right. They've all got an aggressive sole, which is pretty cool. Again, good enough for what they're for. I'm not seeing that one. Is that on the clearance?
And there's also pants there in green, kind of a dark, bright green, in size large, cargo pants for $9.99.
And that is a good price. If they're green, that's good enough for wearing the snot out of them until they fall off you.
Yeah.
For $9 a pair. It's like I said, I mean, pants have gone stupid. It's unbelievable. I mean, well, it isn't. It's what we warned everybody about. NAFTA and GATT. This is what's happening, guys. Progressively, NAFTA and GATT's catching up with us.
They have some fire-resistant gloves on there, too, for a pair for $9. Aviator gloves.
Well, this is kind of interesting. I'm not catching all those yet, but there's quite a few pages, so I haven't even gone through. I just rolled it up.
I went into closeout, and then at the top, I clicked on start with the lowest price first, and then that's how I'm seeing it instead of having to search the different categories.
Show more lights. Let's see.
Well, while you're looking for that, I got something I wanted to tune your ear up to and tell me if you have any ideas for it. Okay, I'm having a very hard time, like always, trying to get anybody to wake up and listen, and I'm worried about as things start to unfold even more, how am I going to have time to educate anybody that I'm trying to get into my side? We need some education materials, I'm thinking, something that, okay, you read through all that, you're good, you're checked off on this and that, and I need to have a progressive order of read-me materials so I can bring people up to speed on why things are happening, why are we doing this, and then, besides the training, trying to get everybody in the same, the few
right.
people.
Right, I know what you're talking about. Well, actually, we've done that for years. You have to come up with a battery of what, who it is you think is your, first choice guru for the subject.
Right.
Example is, because this is the one thing I'm seeing right now is there's quite a hodgepodge of people with experience in a number of different areas, or they're finding different pieces and discovering, like I've said for years, that would happen. They're rediscovering the sovereignty issue. They're rediscovering the, like we were talking about the Fed and how the Fed, the FBI is, corporation and how these things are all corporate. What we've got, though, is we've got a fading out of the people who were the senior people of the 90s, and the people haven't picked up right away, but they got pieces of it, and now they're rediscovering what everybody did in that cycle, and they're throwing it out there ad hoc. And this is creating a lot of, it's not so much confusion. I've seen this 3 times now. I've grown up with this. When I was learning things, I saw this in the 70s and into the 80s, okay? As I, developed and, worked through the ranks, so to speak. In other words, helped to bring other people up and online, and then we do more work and we build more. We saw, again, the seniors that were people back in the 70s were people from the 50s and 60s who didn't have any of the technology and had a lot of patience. They did a phenomenal job of doing everything from scratch, and they had to do it person to person, or they did it with first records and cassettes. And I'm not exaggerating. They had record burners, guys, just like you have all this modern technology, or you had VHS, or before then we had DVDs. The big advance is the quantity that we could crank out in DVDs, so you can make a class pack. Up here where we are, what the guys do is they usually like a shoebox full of DVDs on every and any subject, and they just keep handing them out. They crank them out wherever they get cheap discs. I've got, like I said, I got 4 carousels sitting behind me in CD and in DVDs. They're being loaded up with stuff. Now, part of that's got to go out to you guys that are listening. But what we also do is set up, bundle packs with, information on, for instance, the foundations of the sovereignty issue, constitutional issues. Actually, what really is critical there used to be a group here in Michigan called Justice Pro Se. You've probably seen some of their videos over the years. I spoke at Justice Pro Se. Many other people have too. But Justice Pro Se's mission was to do what you're talking about, to have the foundational work available and to help people to understand first where did we come from? Okay, who owns us? This is basically the first rule you have to ask. Who thinks they own us, or do we own ourselves? When you ask somebody if who owns you, they'll immediately puff up and go, well, nobody owns me. Oh, okay, well then let's go through the basics here and let's ask some questions. Now, what is your belief system or your religious system about, for instance, the economy and how the government should work? Do you believe that you should be paying taxes? Do you believe you should be paying the taxes you've been paying? And if you do, to what degree, or do you feel that are you incensed because you believe that you've been overburdened? When you approach people from that direction and then come back to then let's see who really, then you ask them, well, then who really does own you? Justice Pro Se used to do a really great series of classes, and I have to dig one of the videos out. It was called Uncle Sam and the Banker. Now, some of the guys listening go, oh, I remember that. And it was a beautifully written, it was personally written by a couple of the members in Justice Pro Se, and it was done as a play where Uncle Sam sits down with the banker, and they're having a discussion back and forth. And the two individuals that did this, that played the characters, were fantastic at the job. And they used it as a live piece where everybody could come into they come into a Justice Pro Se meeting, or these guys actually went on tour to other locations. And they would give this dialogue back and forth. And it forced people to think, but it kept them entertained. And that's half of the battle, is apparently we all seem we need to be entertained. We can't. We aren't as fully adult as we should be, because most of the material that really we're talking about is very dull. But, the difference between a child and an adult is an adult maintains the attention span to complete dull tasks to succeed and accomplish a particular goal, which is beneficial to himself and perhaps family, nation, whatever. A lot of things aren't exciting. They aren't dynamic. They aren't really pretty in any way, shape, or form, and some of them are pretty dark.
Well, most people under 50 or 60 years old never got the high school training of the Constitution even.
Yes.
And I'm thinking that you were talking about a while back about having games to keep people's minds entertained and stuff like that. And I'm thinking I need a teacher that's going to teach people, to give them like the 10 Commandments for the Patriot movement. And under each 10 Commandments, those are basically giant chapters, and each chapter would have a whole segment of things that can be broadcast over the FM radio while people are at posts and things like that. So they're still getting learning. I look at trying to do more than one item at a time. So if you're sitting there at Child, you're getting information coming at you to teach you why we fight and why we have honor in what our fight is. And that's the other thing is you always have that information going out because you got to counter all the other news garbage is out there because these people just keep buying up. You let them get 10 minutes in front of the TV set and they're sucked back into the Jim Jones COVID Kool-Aid thing.
Right. Well, that gets back to the, where did we come from? That's why, again, you're talking about the 10 Commandments, so to speak, or subject matter. First rule is where did we come from, which is history, which is not taught in the schools in any way, shape, or form. Look at the purple-haired people who think that they're guppies who hate your country. They're not going to give you any background on your nation. They're going to do, they don't know themselves to begin with, and because of that, they become the Fruit Loops and loons that they are. So you're not going to get it from the system. It's going to have to be from us. And this is where, again, we've done well in the past. It's a sine wave. We've had cyclic processes. Right now, we need to reintroduce the basics and do exactly what you're talking about with the tools that we already have on the shelf, because we have a lot of good people that have already come before us that have done the work. The Declaration was before the Declaration of Independence. The War for Independence was created by us. We didn't ask permission. We could see the writing on the wall. We actually were fighting, guys, a preventive war. We were not fighting a defensive war. We were fighting a preventive war. We are now in a situation where we have to fight a preventive war. It's already bad enough. It was bad back when the American War for Independence started. There was 10 years where, as we've repeated many times on the air, they were sure they were going to go to war in 1765. Hell, it's even argued 1755. And yet, now, if you think about that, everybody's always frustrated. Well, why didn't we? Well, this has history repeating itself. Everybody found ways to accept the abuses or decided, well, it'll be bad if we have a war. Well, will it be bad, or would it be better to wait later and take an even bigger hit because the enemy's more entrenched? We're now to the point where we have to stop what's going on. We simply have to stop it. So we're in the same situation of a preventive war, a needed preventive war, just as we fought the American War for Independence. Now, after we decided to shoot their ass because we didn't ask permission, there was no vote. It was just, today's a good day to shoot their ass, and we did. Everybody kind of agreed, well, it looks like it's time.
Yeah, we came over here to get away from their system because there's no other place to go to, and then they came over here and we said, enough of that, we're going to shoot you. But now, today, we have no place to run except for maybe a few safer states that might be a little less behind the curve than, for instance, my New York State.
Well, and people are playing musical chairs, as I said, with the states even. It's like, people are running from Michigan, they want to go somewhere else. But where are you going to go? You can go to Missouri, but here's something interesting. I've mentioned this last 2 years. Missouri has done some phenomenal work at the state level, and it's obviously means that around the state they've got some really dynamic people who are pro-patriot, pro-gun, pro-liberty, etc. But in the same breath, guys, we have St. Louis, like we do in every nation state, because all of our states are nation states. Here we got St. Louis. What did we just have happen there? We got them raping, killing, pillaging, and burning. They went in the neighborhood. People tried to defend themselves in that same state that has some really phenomenal pro-patriot effort being done. And they're on the public venue. They're showing you crucifying a couple where they're going to drag them through the BS of the legal system for the sake of trying to terrorize everybody else into becoming good victims. So no matter where we go, we're at the point where this, like I said, you're at the wall. You might as well dig in really well, decide what it is you like, get rid of what you don't like as far as the other side goes. They're your enemy. And then when we're done, we'll be able to take care of it amongst people of like mind. But there's no coming together with what's in front of us. There's no living with what's in front of us now.
Well, even if you win, you got leftovers that are idiots, and we'll revert back to the same ways.
Right. That's where we have to be educating as we go, which is the process of understanding our how we developed. We may not go past the Articles of Confederation this time. I think we might have learned a lesson. But even there, myself, I am very familiar with the progression and how things developed. I believe that most of what they say about the Articles of Confederation were propaganda and lies against the free and independent states. That's not an accident. You always have the ring knockers trying to turn right around and plug the garbage right back in. While our limited constitutional republic should work, unfortunately it's still in place, but look at all the bastards that have done a fine job of avoiding it like the plague. And they're in our government. Now, either we shoot their ass out of our government, our country and our government, and we put it back to rights, or we realize that they mutated from the Articles of Confederation to the Republic purely for the benefit of being able to step-by-step do what they've done to us.
Well, it's going to be interesting to see when they break this down into regions, who's going to backstab the other person to become the regional governor.
Regional governor, yeah. Remember, roll that R when you say that. Remember?
Yeah, like Cuomo will go around and kill all the neighboring governors, so he can become the regional governor. So that's the next fiefdom for them.
Well, and again, there would still be the state governors would still be in place. It's just a matter of who comes to the top in terms of political manipulation. And like you said, it's most likely around that pod of, say, Pennsylvania. I know there'll be a pissing match between Pennsylvania and New York. Okay, there would be, because Pennsylvania is actually a linchpin state in terms of its location and how it puts a cork. I mean, if you think about it, it's a capstone state. But that's symbolically quite correct with regard to travel, transport, manipulation of the East Coast economy. New York couldn't do as much to block everything as Pennsylvania can in terms of physical travel and motion. So that'll be a big conflict right there in terms of the regional power structure. Plus, the Jewish mob in Pennsylvania is almost equally as entrenched, even though they're nothing more than a westerly headed outshoot of the Jewish mob out of New York City. They're all just extensions.
Well, it's interesting
that's where the fight would be, over which of the mobsters, which of Murder Incorporated would be in charge, like you said.
Yeah, it's interesting to see how New York State here over the news is always saying all these other states are red states. You can't come here unless you quarantine. And I don't know how they have to prove that. I guess it's an honor system, but how many cops on the street are going to pull you over and say, you're from another state. What are you doing? Let's see your papers. So it's very interesting, and it's depressing, and at the same time, just seeing the map of U.S. that all these states are red except for if you're from California, you can come to New York. But I don't know how you get there other than flying, because you got to come through the red states. You've got all this CV shit. Excuse my language.
Well, again, this comes down to, how long can this burden last? Okay, granted, I know why they're doing it. They're actually creating it is nothing more than the Soviet subdivision and blocking that we've warned everybody about. You have arbitrary enforcement of activities from one area to the next, where on the one hand they would blurt out and tell you that the Fed has control and the Fed is supreme. We then see an arbitrary and intentionally confusing action at the state level to create the frustration you're talking about. It's not. This is purely planned.
Right. They're already talking about prepping the public right now with the CV-20. I'm serious. It's no joke. They're already talking to people. CV-20 is on its way.
Well, I mean, it gets to the point where, like I said, for the brain dead and the zombies, granted, to a degree they'll continue listening, but there's a whole bunch of people that are really kind of fed up with this. They're not getting into public debates. That's one of the things I've pointed out. The lion's share of the population are at the push point where they're ready to kick off. And I just had a conversation today with a couple of different people that were, they were constantly asking very specific questions, because everybody says the same thing. Everything is wrong right now. Just ignore even if you just ignore, you don't need to worry about names. Just look at the actions and the way things feel right now. Remember, we've talked about this. The subconscious is registering all the rest of the threat, and most everybody is registering it. Now, everybody's trying to do the sip on the wine on the Champs-Élysées. Okay, for the time being, I'm going to suck a little wine, have a little bit of the fromage. I'm going to try to ignore the world. Oh, look, there are terrorists going by. Oh, wait a minute, government employees, terrorists, same thing. And they are beating on people, and they are shooting people. And, oh, but I'm going to have some more fromage and a little bit of the onion. And then, oh, wait a minute, I need more of the vino. Because I'm going to try to ignore reality.
Well, I think you're right about the older people wanting to wake up and get away from this stuff, but the peer pressure from the younger adults, I don't think it's going to stop. I think we're going to go down with the ship because these stupid children.
Oh, we're not going to stop this. No, we need to keep it going. It needs to happen.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you right now, I made a mistake. We should have kicked it off in '94. I will tell you right now, we had the ability. We should have hit the switch, and we'd have been done with this. The year 2020, we'd have been past the globalist crap. We would have been back into an American cycle. We're now going to have to fight a 6 to 8 year war. We need to do it. It needs to happen. We need to get everybody just macro motion, everybody. Don't micro. Don't worry about micro. Get everybody into the understanding that this has got to kick off. We've got to finish it.
Fucci is already pushing for everybody to sacrifice their Thanksgiving to stay home.
Yeah,
but Halloween can be okay.
Yeah. The occult holiday is great, but the Thanksgiving holiday is evil. You know, that occult holiday, you guys can get out there all you possibly can. But
you got to have that fake turkey in the can at home.
Yeah, right. Well, that's a Star Trek thing. Remember, if I'm going to have synthetic turkey, I want to at least look like one. Remember, Kirk, Star Trek.
Yeah.
One of the early episodes.
Well, I don't mean to hog up all this time, Mark. I'm going to take off and let you go back, and I just wanted to talk to you about education because I don't know where to start. There's been so much good stuff put out by people, and I'm trying to glean together all this information and have it be able to be put out in a logical form to educate slowly by slowly, because you have to spoon feed these people, because otherwise their mind can't wrap their head around the shock of their lies and all that.
Well, it is true, because people can only absorb so much. I mean, here's the problem. You and I both know this. I'm in the same boat. I throw a lot of stuff at people sometimes, but I have to gauge it. If it looks like I got a person in front of me who's absorbing or thinking, I'll tell you how you can gauge it. What do you get in the way of kickback questions while you're talking to them? Okay? And the reason I say that is because usually the questions are refined based upon decision processes that the adult probably has already made. Today I had that happen. It's like, okay, wait a minute, and the guy actually even said this. He goes, well, because I had to go anyway. I had to leave. Nancy was being very patient. But the thing is, the guy said, well, in 30 seconds, what do you think about? This. Now, and he already was talking about many other subjects, and he was absorbing, and he actually goes, and, they were taking even notes. But it's like, okay, go do this. I can't stand here and teach this to you. Go do this. Go do this. Go do this. But when you've got a person that comes back with a refined, very precise question, then obviously there's a whole lot of what you've already been talking about that they're up to speed on, or they can grasp and comprehend. That's why I said everybody has their point where they hit there's that epiphany that they finally have. If you have the answers right there to at least part of them, in some cases you'll watch the light kick in the rest of the way right in front of you. Now, again, here's the other rule. If you have a hard charger, arm the son of a bugger to the teeth with everything you can give them. And that's another reason why you're absolutely right about the education process, but it's because they need something too. If you run into another person who is a like thinker, then you need to arm them with everything as a duplicate, because now you've got another voice. Now, the big thing is you also need to sit down, like I'm doing right now with everybody that's listening. Hopefully it's kind of impressing this. I can hit people with a whole lot of junk all at once, okay? I'll give you, introductory plus collegiate all at the same time. And I do overqualify sometimes. I know how that is, even on the air, because you got me in a mental process, and I'll qualify step by step by step. Why do I have to do that? The other side doesn't do that. The other side's propaganda is never deep. Anybody ever notice this, guys? Shallow hell, shallow swimming pool, kiddie pool.
Thinking is work.
On our side, we actually have to do the research, because we always have these pisswillies and asshats who will go, you don't know what you're talking about. But here's what's cute. From the same pisswilly and asshat, if all of a sudden I can qualify and go step by step, well, you don't know what you're talking about. Okay, wait a minute. Hold on here. I can't open my face unless I know that I'm 99.99999% sure. And in fact, I already have the answer even when I ask a question. Okay, I already know the answer. And yet, you'll have these idiot sticks, and that's the other part of how you gauge why you just back off and don't even bother. Because if the character starts to make you're affecting their religion in such a way that, and it's a religion of communism, it's a religion of it's a religion of I want free, I want it free, and I want yours too, by the way. Because if you pay attention, the one who usually wants it free also perceives that your property should be their property, that you have no right to your time, and you have no right to the benefits of your time. You're not going to fix that person. In fact, you're wasting your time if you think you're going to, but you better make sure you know who they are. That person's going to show up in front of you at some point on the battlefield, or is going to be one of the monkey-poking backstabbers that you better be knowing where they are. You can also play them and use them, but you got to make sure you benchmark and tag, especially the closer they are to your sphere of activity. However, there's a lot of people that are up to speed. There's a lot of people right now that it's just going to take one tick and the light bulb goes on the rest of the way. It's like tapping the fixture, the connection's finally right. And that's where having those tools you're talking about, you're absolutely right about this, having them on hand. Real quick recommendation, we're almost at the top. Look to see what's on YouTube from Justice Prosay. Justice Prosay of Michigan. Justice Prosay of the Detroit area. Justice Prosay. They're still, the guys are still out there. There was a group that was resurrecting their meetings. I don't know that anything, they did for a little bit, but, the biggest thing is that then the libraries and everything were told that they shouldn't allow them to be in the libraries because they were doing what? Talking about constitutional issues. We can't have that in the library. But originally they were meeting at Dearborn Public Library. Let me give you an example, number 4. Mm-hmm. Here's what's cute. If you go to the Dearborn Public Library, they have been coached to say that there was no such thing as Justice Prosay, and nobody like that ever met here, and there's nothing like that, because you got to remember that they're right across the street from the Ford Corporation, Ford headquarters, guys. Here's what's cute. I've actually walked in, one of the guys Ernie the tape, Ernie might be listening right now. We've gone in there, guys, and they said, well, there's no such thing as Justice Prosay. They never were here. Really? Well, what's this tape here, and what's this disc here, and here's a disc here, and here's a meeting. Here's an 8-hour meeting, a 6-hour meeting, or a whole event that lasted a whole Saturday, all right here in the library. And by the way, it's on video, and there's the library. Studio, / auditorium, and this is the Dearborn Library. And so I guess they were, and you're lying, aren't you? But they've been coached to, guys, this is how they erase history, this classic communism. Well, the cool thing is that we're now talking digital technology that's even old digital that can prove that they're lying. Well, that helps when you're teaching other people, because they'll come up, somebody else will go, I heard that this group was there. Oh, that's just crazy, that's just mythology stuff. They were never here. Well, then you go, did they just say that? I used to actually, watch this.
Also, speaking about making things disappear, supposedly, I haven't looked it up, but they made it disappear off of OSHA's website about the mask being dangerous to you to wear.
I knew. Yeah, but here's the problem. You know what the problem with that is?
People make copies of it.
How many classes? We had to go every 6 months to OSHA classes that were mandatory, and also my OSHA. And every time you go, they give you a binder with all of that garbage in it, and again, reinforced over and over and over, step by step, what PP equipment does, what it will do, what it can't do. And guess what? Those masks are extensively warned about and covered in all of that literature. So they might try to do damage control for the shallow brain, which is really what that's all about. But if anybody's out there that's been in any of the mandatory, especially air quality and air purity regulations, for tight and confined spaces, for enclosed areas, for circulation issues, all of that is covered. And guess what, guys? That is not. It's basically.
But Mark, that's for old people. Old people have papers and binders. If it's not on the web, it didn't really happen.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. The George Orwell hole, of course, where you can hit a key and alter it and make it disappear. That's correct. But if you physically have it, which is why they want books gone, because you can't burn enough of them fast enough. when it's hard copy, it's like, no, this is fixed from this period of time. And by the way, fact is fact, and the technology doesn't change.
Those damn Herberts.
Yeah, Herbert. Yeah, you're what, Spock. What's a Herbert? Oh,
Herbert's got all them ring binders.
Yeah, it's not a complimentary term, Captain. We are at the top, right, guys? For everybody out there, again, proper planning prevents piss poor performance, guys. If we're going to work at this, we have to have a goal. We have to ask the basic questions. Again, who owns you? Well, ain't nobody owning me, and I ain't much a subject to anybody. Neither are you. God bless our republic.
We're on the march.
Death to the New World Order.
We shall prevail, ladies and gentlemen. The empire's on the run.
And we're on the march.
We're on the march both day and night.
There we go, guys. Anyway, we're going to get all the way for the moment. Ed taking over. It is Tuesday
Thanks,
on Liberty Tree Radio.
Talk to you guys later.
God bless. And we'll be back in an hour. But meanwhile, Ed in charge and LTR continues. Bye-bye.